But I have absolutely no skin whatsoever in defending any lobbyist group, including AIPAC.
Right.
So I would love to know what they do.
So about a week ago, I did a video on a individual by the name of Marjorie Taylor Greene, or Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, better known as MTG. And, this was the first true insight that I had into who this woman actually is, as far as her character, as well as many of her belief systems and, what she purports to stand for, etc. And what I came to realize in that first expose was that MTG has JDS. MTG has Jewish derangement syndrome. Now, of course, like many of the Jew-hating individuals, she cloaks this in, I'm simply noticing, I'm simply asking questions. It's not about Israel. It's just, it's about Israel, right? AIPAC, 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 AIPAC. That is essentially the messaging behind MTG. Now, I also unpacked a lot of who she is and the sort of stuff she does behind closed doors. Because before we can get into your message and really trust that you believe what you claim to believe, we have to know the type of person we're dealing with. I believe in character over words. Even when you see somebody like myself, hopefully you would look into the character of the man before you look at just the things that I'm saying, right? That is credibility. And MTG happens to be an individual who has made upwards to $21 million of profit in the last 4 years while in Congress. She went from $700,000 to making $22 million through the stock market, conveniently most of which was, or a large amount of it was made right around DJT's announcement of pausing the tariffs around April 9th of this year. Yeah, all of a sudden she made a boatload of money, as she has been making money throughout her time in Congress. So this is somebody who, claims that the Jews, or Israel, right? We got to use that word because we can't really tell them what it is. It's not about the Jews. It's Israel, right? It's the Jews. Israel is paying for American politicians and the influence they carry, right? AIPAC, 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 AIPAC. Now, never mind you that we have, AIPAC, right? Something we're going to get into a little bit down this road. But we also happen to have a multitude of other lobbyist groups that she never mentions, not even a semblance, not even an utterance of these PACs, because they don't align with her own Jew hatred. And so there is an unfortunate video that I'm going to have to make y'all subject to today, which is of, I guess, beloved by many, a Megyn Kelly, who seems to be going down this very same road. And I believe her to be well-intending and to be somebody who is genuinely asking questions, but I can't guarantee it in this day and age. When you have people like MTG, it's possible that some of the most trusted voices in media might as well go down the same path, the likes of the Tucker or Tucker Carlsons, etc. But anyway, the first video I want to show y'all is this one I came across, which is 3 weeks ago. MTG came out, or Marjorie came out, stating that there is indeed a genocide in Gaza, something that I and many others have already debunked 1,000 times over. The genocide where there's more people being born than those dying, where the population has increased exponentially. Then she, of course, lies about starvation in Gaza, etc., to the point where leftists are now reporting on her being, finding the first conservative voice to speak up against the atrocities. To hell with what Hamas is doing, those poor little desert dwellers.
She is actually the first Republican member of Congress to use that word, genocide. She was using it in response to a fellow Republican congressman, Randy Fine of Florida. He tweeted, "Release the hostages, until then starve away," which has seen him, condemned quite widely. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was among those who actually condemned him. And she said, "It is the most truthful and easiest thing to say that October 7 in Israel was horrific and all hostages must be returned."
I wonder if her overlords over there in Iran or Qatar, wherever it may be, that she gets her direct deposits, allegedly. I I wonder if they gave her that wording. It is the most truthful and honest. That's something that somebody who believes something says, right? It is the most truthful and honest thing to say that it is a genocide taking place there. Now, Randy Fine, he's a little bit wacky of a guy, but MTG, an individual who stated that California's forest fires were started by Jewish space lasers, not just any old space lasers. We're not talking about just any old space lasers. We're talking about Jewish space lasers, baby. Jewish space lasers. Because what is a space laser if not Jewish? That is a direct statement from MTG. Now, come full circle, that was around 2018, come full circle to 2025. Here she is as the first Republican Congresswoman, first Republican Congress member to state that it is truthful and it is honest that this is a genocide. Okay.
But so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis, and starvation happening in Gaza. So it is quite unusual that it's coming from her, actually. But I think it reflects a changing attitude in the United States. I mean, Donald Trump himself said yesterday that he was shocked by these images of starvation in Gaza. Randy Fine had said he thought that it was disinformation that was being pumped.
By the way, in the last 3 weeks, all of that is now irrelevant information to the point where the BBC has the BBC. Yes, the BBC. The wacko lefties at the BBC, the evil wacko lefties at the BBC had to take back their statements. And just in the last week, they put out a story about a woman who came out of Palestine, quote unquote, Palestine, was sent to Italy, I believe it was, and had died of malnutrition. Yeah, turns out that woman actually had cancer. Just like the little boy who was used on the cover of many of these magazines. Right? New York Times reports on it. The trusted New York Times. This little boy is suffering from starvation. Yeah, turns out that is a muscular disease that he suffers from. Next. See, Pallywood has pulled the wool over some's eyes, not us over here. But it's the most heartbreaking when it is used as fodder by those who have an agenda and a narrative to push, such as MTG. Now, I just want to show y'all that. These are, again, a whacked out lefties who are pushing the very same nonsense. But we can't be surprised when they're doing it. Be honest with y'all. I expect this from the leftists. I expect them to lie. I expect them to side with evil. I expect them to protest on behalf of the whack jobs. But when it comes to people who are supposed to be trusted on this side of the conversation, that's when it really breaks my heart. And to know that Megyn Kelly's not just sitting across from the likes of a whacked out MTG, but she is seemingly siding with her, makes me feel some type of way. I haven't fully diagnosed what the emotional combination is yet, but I feel some type of way. And so we're going to get into this video. We're going to give a little bit of a breakdown as much as we can. Many of these points I've made 1,000 times over, but I want you guys to see just a few things. I watch for as much as speech, for body language, for how somebody's delivering a message, etc. Like MTG is not very bright, so what she uses is this false sympathy and care and compassion. She uses her femininity, in order to sort of draw her narrative. And it's like, yes, I'm so concerned. Me too. Like, I understand that. Yes, me. She uses that in order to sort of cover the real venom and vitriol that sometimes comes out when the real MTG, shows up. The same MTG who cheats on her husband twice with 2 gym instructors, one of them being a not-so-Christian tantric guru. Yeah, that MTG comes out. The one who would take taxpayer dollars and spend them in the stock market, a little bit of insider trading, allegedly. That's the MTG that comes out. Let's get into it. Yes, I'm that messy, because when you're on this side, I have no sympathy. When you're on the side of evil, I got no sympathy for you like that. Everything's getting aired out.
This audience knows, and I know where you stand too on Israel and all that, but I've been very pro-Israel, and I've been very defensive of their right to defend themselves in this nightmare.
Of course.
And I've been very defensive of American Jews on campuses who are just being harassed. It's ridiculous.
Of course.
But I have absolutely no skin whatsoever in defending any lobbyist group, including AIPAC.
Right.
So I would love to know what they do to get the loyalty of politicians, because I will say,
imagine asking Lucifer about the conditions in heaven. That's the best parallel I can make for that statement. So tell me, Jew deranged woman, can you tell me a little bit about AIPAC? Well, I'm glad you'd ask, because I'm the perfect person to go to without a biased opinion on the matter. You know, little old Hamas sympathizing me.
I have had multiple reach outs to me, both from friends and from connected people in DC, begging me to go to Israel with them. And I have said no every time. I'm just too busy. I have 3 kids. I have a full-time job. I'm not doing it. But lately, it seems like it's coming to be even more, because I feel like there's a contingent of people who are worried that they're losing me. And I've said that you're not losing. I'm not on Hamas's side.
No, God, no. Nobody's on Hamas's side.
But it's been a while.
MTG is on Hamas's side, literally. Literally. Israel is starving, genociding, and targeting those poor Hamasians. Oh, the horror.
Now that this has been going on.
Right.
And we're getting more involved with the Iranian bombing and so on.
Sure.
And my own feelings are, I'm looking at Israel in a different way right now than I was on 10/8, that's for sure, of 23.
Right.
And I can feel the pressure being slightly ratcheted up, like you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. And I can see people like you, like Tucker, who I know Tucker. I've known him for years. And I've seen you in your early career. I know you have nothing against Israel.
Oh, gosh, no. They.
It's weird, the obsession with Israel.
I don't think I'm obsessed with Israel.
The Israelis, Israel, Israelis, Israel, Israel, Israelis, Israel, Israelis, Israelis, Israel, Israelis, Israelis, Israel, Israelis, Israel, 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 Israel.
I mean, it's not. He's not talking about Israel.
Right. Israel, 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 Israel.
But wait, there's more. Okay.
Tucker.
Shout out to Milk Bar TV. Shout out to Nathan Livingston. We're about to have him on the show, I believe, in a couple days, actually. Shout out to my guy. Yeah, so turns out that there is quite a bit of Israel obsession taking place within the inner midst of this newly formed circle, right? The unholy union of the Jew hate. The Jew hate brigade, as I like to refer to them. So yeah, Meg seems to be going down a very dangerous path, and I get why people around her are like, oh, we might be losing you. Now, here's the thing. Getting invited to Israel is what I believe to be the best concerted effort that the Jewish people or Israelis overall, even non-Jewish Israelis, non-practicing Jews, which makes up, I believe, most of Israel, if I do not stand corrected on that one. 2 million Arabs would probably want this, the multitude of Christians who live there, the Gentiles per se, the non-believers, the secular. They would all probably want Americans and other Westerners to visit Israel to see that we're being lied to about Israel and the state of Israel. When somebody is saying there's a genocide, there's an apartheid happening here, the best thing you can say is, hey, come over so you can see for yourself. See that we are your friend. We're with you. And so that's going to start being contorted and twisted. I can already see where this is going right here. We're going to get back into it. I don't know how much of it we'll get through, but we'll get through enough to make it to make it worth your time.
Never mind Jews.
Yeah.
That's all a lie. But
Right.
and I see
We definitely got to bring back the old. Where are we? There we are. All right.
the beatdowns coming. Like you're not allowed. Like you have to stay right on this lily pad.
Yes.
And you cannot
That's her right there. Like, yes, yes, you have entered darkness.
jump to another neighboring lily pad because it could take you all the way down the river away.
That's
so
right.
I'm very interested in this dynamic.
Yeah. Well, I find it fascinating that you're getting asked more and more and more. I've been asked more and more and more. Well, you're a person of very big influence. You've got a big voice. You've got a large audience. They also take a lot of influencers. They invite tons of influencers.
Many of whom have invited me. Like we're all going together and will you come? Like they seem to be coming at me from a number of ways, which only really kind of raises my hackles. Like I'm not going. I'm going to stay right here. I can cover this conflict from here, and I don't wish to be wooed by any side. I actually don't wish to be
are you
persuaded.
Have you been invited by any other foreign country?
No.
Okay, that's
Yeah, usually when you're dealing with Qatar, when you're dealing with the UAE, etc., they send you the direct deposit. They don't need you to necessarily visit, unless you're Trump and they're going to put on this entire festivity in order to make themselves seem as they're your ally. They'll send you a 747 jet, jumbo jet. They'll do that for you. They'll throw you a parade, but usually when you're dealing with Qatar, they'll just send their tens of billions of dollars directly into your educational institutions. Like the piece that I did on Qatar specifically, they will send their money directly into the hands of your politicians, etc. As a matter of fact, they might send it through what is known as the Arab American Political Action Committee, or AAPAC, which we have for you guys right here, actually. They might send it through something like this, Look at that. Good old AAPAC, which nobody seems to care much about over here. Or actually, they might send it through, we might want to do one of these. Might send it through one of the multiple lobby groups. So let's go ahead and get into this. What is this? Many of the players in the Arab lobby are paid directly by Arab governments. Oh, would you figure that? The New York Times describes them as an elite band of former members of Congress, former diplomats, and power brokers who have helped Middle Eastern nations navigate diplomatic waters. Here on delicate issues like arms deals, terror, oil, and trade restrictions. Powerful lobbyists work on behalf of the Arab lobby, including Bob Livingston, Tony Podesta, Tony, and Toby Moffett. Arab governments have paid tens of millions of dollars to top lobbying firms that work to influence the American government. This includes the Saudi Arabian lobby, Egypt lobby, and Libya lobby. And actually, when you go through this entire piece, you'll see here the anti-Israel lobby. Go figure. And this might be one that MTG might be interested in getting involved with. The Egypt lobby, Libya lobby, Palestine lobby. Oh, Palestine lobby. My. Saudi Arabian lobby, etc. So, yeah. We're just simply asking questions over here. In the words of once great philosopher Candace Candy Apple Qatari Owens, we are just asking questions.
That's the part, right? So we have tons of lobbyists foreign countries lobbyists that come to Washington, D.C. Pretty much every country has some sort of representative. They have an ambassador they send to Washington. It's naturally in their interest. We can understand that. They also are required to register under FARA. It's a law. They have to register as a foreign agent, a foreign lobbyist. That is required. It's extremely important. Here's the difference with APAC. APAC is not registered under FARA, under this law that requires anyone coming to lobby a member of Congress or a senator or department of the government and the federal.
Because APAC is an American PAC. A in APAC stands for America. The end. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Government on behalf of another country. So AIPAC argues, oh, but we're Americans. Yes,
Exactly.
they are Americans, but they are coming to Congress and to the federal government asking on behalf of the country of Israel. And I fully agree with you, Megyn. We are not against Israel. We are all for their right to defend themselves, just as we are for any Jewish person on campus.
3 weeks ago, you stated that this is a genocide at the hands of Israel. You guys can watch the rest of this on your own time. It's about that time where I do what I'm here to do. Deception is the order of the day. You know, they call the devil the father of lies, diablos, the accuser. These people will say anything on any podium or any platform in order to perpetuate their end goal. They will, on one podcast, exclusively rail on Israel, such as when she's sitting with a Tucker Carlson. And in the next moment, she will sit with a Megyn Kelly, who is being massaged into this sort of ideology. She will meet her with, you know, we have no problem at all. I mean, we're really not talking about Israel, technically speaking. We're speaking of the government of Israel. It's not the Jewish people we're talking about here. It's the Zionist, right? They will craft their messaging for whoever the audience is, while still pushing the very same essential overall narrative, right? The narrative is this: the Jews are the true enemy. Therefore, anybody who they're in opposition to is in opposition to them is the ally. That's why somebody like this would get onto a camera just a couple months ago, actually a month and a little change ago, and state that Donald Trump, the president she purports to be standing behind on every single agenda, has gone back on his campaign promises because of him taking out the nuclear facilities in Iran. When you can go back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago and see exactly how we felt about Iran having those weapons. This is a president who has been targeted actively by the Iranian government. And yet, as soon as he does the thing that the presidents before him claimed they were going to do themselves, when he actually executes on that, then he's turned on by his own supposed base. That's why I'm saying these people will say whatever is necessary to push their agenda. They will separate themselves from their actual base in order to continue to perpetuate it. Some are specifically for the money orientation. And I believe that MTG is a money hungry individual. Why I believe that about her is because she used the platform of politician in order to get taxpayer dollars so she could pay into the stock market to make millions and millions of dollars on the backs of hardworking Americans. I wouldn't care if she did that outside of Congress. I wouldn't care if she wasn't taking taxpayer dollars. If she had a job and she was willing to put that money and she hit the stock market at the perfect timing and was a lot, more power to you, sis. But this is an individual who used our money to profit herself. That's why I believe she is capable of taking money from other entities. And now that she has come out actively in support of the other side, Iran is not really our enemy, these people claim. Iran didn't do anything. But Iran is the biggest funder of Hamas. If Iran was funding any other or if Iran was funding Hamas and Hamas attacked any other nation, it wouldn't be the same smoke. I promise y'all that. But again, their narrative is that Israel is the enemy. And I believe that is a spiritual thing we're getting into right now. A day ago, I did a full breakdown of Jonathan Cahn, or some would say Rabbi or Pastor Jonathan Cahn, and his breakdown of the spiritual element of what's currently taking place. The attack upon Israel because it is the land where Christ is to rule from. Jerusalem, the capital of the world in essence. A land that was once void of its people and has now been brought back from its ashes, brought back from the damn bones. A people who are dispersed throughout the world have come back to their land, just as prophecy claimed. And now you have people who claim to be Christians turning other Christians in opposition to Israel. This is dangerous territory, folks. This is dangerous territory. But it's all under the guise of America first. And that's how she's able to get away with it. You know, the lefties, we know they're whacked out. They hate America. They hate the Western world. She comes off as maybe she actually cares about America. Maybe she actually cares about you and I. Maybe she just doesn't want Israel involved. Maybe she doesn't want foreign money coming in, right? Seems reasonable. Maybe she just doesn't want money going out. They're still confused on which one of those makes you, the controlling or the ruling nation, right? Israel rules the world and runs America because we give them money. Also because they give us money. Which one is it? Because if it's who gives us the most money, then we might want to look into China. And if it's vice versa, who we give the most money, we might want to look into Ukraine. But conversation for another time. MTG is using the platform of America and America first and this isolationist narrative that is appealing to many at this point, because we've been disappointed by much of our foreign affairs. And for those who don't have a deeper understanding of what's taking place with our relationship with other nations, will easily fall into this trap. I get that. I was one of them at a certain point. Give nothing, collaborate with nobody. And then I started to educate myself on the history of America and realized we have never been isolationist. One of our greatest strengths is our ability to partner. That's why DJT is a maven. The man is an aficionado, deal making with the rest of the world. He can sit with an adversary and get the best deal possible for us. That's what I care about. When it comes to America first, it's us getting the best deal. The best deal for us is to be a friend and an ally to those who have been an ally and a friend to us. That's in our best interest. And if you want to take it to spiritual biblical level, it's in your best interest to side with the one that God said to side with. Not saying Bibi Netanyahu, but when King Saul stepped away from God and he was living an ungodly life, because one of the arguments that's brought up by these people, well, Israel's secular. They're a secular nation. Israel has stepped away from God multiple times in the Bible, and still God has never separated himself from prophecy being fulfilled through Israel. Mind you, the whole chosen people thing, that's simply what it means is this group's been chosen for specific things to unravel. It doesn't mean they're better. It doesn't mean they're more special than the rest of us. I don't get offended off of that. I don't have a fragile ego like that. Not anymore at this point. Maybe on some of the things, but not these things. All right? I don't need to be the end all be all. No. I'd rather be a guy who is living the truth and in alignment with that truth. So MTG is now finding her way into the lives of people like Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly's a grown woman. She chooses what she chooses. She'll probably hear me speaking if she ever did. Probably not. But if she ever did, she would think to herself, see, there's another person saying I'm losing my way. And to that, I say, yeah, I actually get that. Maybe that's why you have friends trying to reach out to you. Maybe that's God trying to reach out to you, be like, hey, sis, this is dangerous territory. Be critical of governments, all governments, the Israeli government as much as any. Be critical, be observant, be discerning, be all these things. But once you step into the Jews are really the ones in control, you're stepping into little mustache man territory. You're stepping into Marxist territory. It's the same rhetoric, same playbook. This is nothing new. We're just asking questions has always been used as a cover-up for the sort of rhetoric that has been pushed to go in opposition to a people who God said, if you curse them, if you bless them. I don't know why that is. I didn't make this whole thing up. I didn't create this planet. I wasn't there with the drawing board. I wasn't there when I wasn't. All I know is this has seemed to be true historically, that those who have stood in opposition to the small group of people look to even eliminate them. Look at them now. Destitute, struggling, been shrunken down to a fractile of their size. And those who have stood with them and been partners to them have grown powerful. Going all the way back to the Persian Empire. When the Persians stood with Israel, what happened? Again, I'm getting into the spiritual religious aspect because MTG claims to be a Christian. She got a cross on her chest right now. She claims to be a Christian. Tucker Carlson claims to be that. And so I'm going to use that in the defense or in opposition to whatever it is that you're claiming on your side to say, this doesn't align with your alleged faith. This is in direct opposition with your faith. This doesn't align with the book that you claim to lead your life. This goes in opposition to it. That's why Tucker was mad when Ted Cruz started getting into what he was getting into. So be careful, folks. Be careful. Cautious, wary. This is still a politician. This ain't your friend. This ain't old sis off the block. It's like, with Candy. Oh, I'm just a mother in a basement looking for truth. That's a multi-millionaire influencer. That's who that is. This is a woman worth $22 million because of her magical stock trading. That is a politician, has the power of the pen, can write things into law and change your life overnight. This is a woman who campaigned like a guerrilla. It's not the physical appearance thing. I mean, guerrilla campaign. She fought tooth and nail to get in a position of power. She is power hungry at some extent. And I wouldn't fault her for it. Trump is power hungry, but at the very least, he's using that power for the sake of the people. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace. Aquarius. Where?
I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind, I've been getting visions of the other kind, I've been up for weeks, I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep, I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me, I used to be the pleaser for the people I ain't even need.